Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. Today I am breaking down Hacienda Hardpoint for you guys and how you can manipulate, rotate and defend hills effectively on this map mode combination. I'm playing with some friends. The lobby's a little bit of a mismatch, so we do absolutely wipe the floor with the enemy. I go 46 and 19, but it's a real nice example of how we move about the map, how we control what we're trying to hold, so on and so forth. If you're enjoying these sort of videos, make sure you show the love down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and obviously comment if you've got any questions on anything you see in today's content. First of all, we're going to be breaking it down off the for the run out of the spawns. So you can see here we're relatively evenly split across the map. We had a teammate go wide. We've got two teammates going middle, and I'm going right. Now the purpose for me going right is P1's here. P2, I'm going to make it visible just for now, is right here. Okay, so that's where P2 finds itself, and as a result I'm trying to rotate round this way to make sure that I can get, you know, P2 control lockdown. If I can guarantee, if I push this way, the enemies are likely to spawn over here. Okay, if I get control of this sort of zone, the enemies are going to be spawning all the way over here, meaning that it's a lot more difficult for them to push the new hill when it gets to that point. That and the fact my teammates have also pushed around this way, teammates push this way, and I've pushed this way, means that we've got a whole cut across the map, ensuring that they don't flip us out early. So that's the main reason why I pushed that direction. Obviously, you want to make sure that at all times you've got someone pushed through this sort of P2 area off the rip, because otherwise the spawns basically work that if you push this side, they'll spawn over here. If you push this side, they'll spawn over here. And obviously, because P2 is here, I much prefer them to spawn over here than here. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you guys. So pre-nade in a hope to, you know, block them off of the hill or block them off the route. I do flash an enemy, but unfortunately get absolutely decimated in the process. This guy made an absolute great play, great shots for them. It is what it is. So what's currently happened now, because I've just spawned over here, it essentially means the enemy's got a little bit more emphasis towards this top side of the map. Okay, so I know for a fact that there could be an enemy up here, there could be an enemy already pushing around to P2. There are so many directions the enemy could be that have made me spawn here, but the main thing is they've got control of this zone. Okay, so chances are if I'm spawning here, they've got, this is awful, but they've got control of sort of this area of the map. Okay, that colored, imagine if that's colored in, that's the control they've got. Okay, if I make that a little bit cleaner for you guys, they've got control sort of that, and that's why I've spawned there. Okay, otherwise I'd have spawned elsewhere. So that's, yeah, you know, just knowing where I've spawned has already given me an idea of where they're likely to be sat. So I flashed that window because it's a fairly common spot. Get a nice little two-piece break the hill. The last guy's under. I thought they were stood up. I pre-shot the stood up. Hey, it is what it is. Okay, we're currently spawning on P2. Now, if you guys use the same logic I've got here, because we've spawned here, it means the enemies are likely to be pushing around this side, potentially rotating to the new hill. Okay, unfortunately I didn't pick this up at the time, and as a result we're just going in to break P1, but let's see how this plays out. So that information is in the back of my head. There's 20 seconds left. I spawned in and I'm like, okay, do I push this? In my head I'm like, yes, let's just get them off this time. This should be easy hill to defend. And instead of pushing through to their side, I've decided to pull back to our side of the hill in an attempt to make sure they just keep spawning that far side. Okay, fortunately we get two-pieced, and I think this doesn't look good for us going forward. So yeah, we're spawned out. Unfortunately, when that happens, essentially we've spawned here. Looking at where we are, yeah, we spawned about there, which means the enemy has control. If you use the same logic on P1, the enemy has control of sort of this section of the map. Okay, so they're likely pushed potentially towards vines, they're likely to push towards this top right hand side, but the chance of them being pushed all the way up here is fairly unlikely. Okay, so I know we've got a little bit of a safe space to move forward into, because otherwise if they were there, if they were here, we'd have spawned over here. Okay, can AFK. So we've got teammates on the hill. I'm noticing we've got a teammate in the back. We're not communicating too much, we're just sort of playing, although we are in a 4-stack. So teammate in the back, teammate on time, and I've decided, you know what, I can stay pushed out here. Now the reason I'm not going directly to hill is for a couple of reasons. Okay, first of all, my teammates have control of this area of the map, which means the enemy can't spawn here. It means the enemies have got to spawn bottom, mid, or deep here. Now, because I know that, and because we're getting good hill time, I'm thinking if I can cut the enemies off nice and early, if I can make sure that we've got, you know, decent control of this zone, and my teammates blocking here, the enemies have got to get through me before they get to the hill. Okay, which means I'm at least going to be able to put out some damage. I'm going to be hitting them first, and it means that chances are they're not just going to run to the straight of the front of the hill with ease. They've got to at least take a gunfight on with me before they proceed to the rest of the hill. Unfortunately, we had no one watching the left, so they've all sort of red flood through left. I did hear someone in the water, so I'm sort of watching that. Managed to get a kill, thank you to the little headphones. Teammates fallen in the back, so as a result, we've spawned out. You can see here, as soon as my teammate died, I was instantly pulled back. My teammate spawned behind me, meaning that I know that they're in the back now. I've got a teammate watching Zig, meaning that it's my job and my duty to pick up the front of this hill. Unfortunately, I was made weak by the nade. So yeah, we're not in this good spot. Don't worry, as I say, I go 46-19, so this gameplay does get better. But teammate going absolutely huge on the hill. We're still not quite pushed into the depths, and I've just noticed my teammate has just spawned out behind me, so I'm fairly confident they're still in the back of the hill. Sick, mate. Unfortunately, I do get pissed on by Jamesy with a sub. So I've spawned in, looking at the hill time, there's 15 seconds left. Is it worth rotating to the new hill, to the old hill? Probably not. But what I'm doing here, because they're going to have to rotate to P3, their choice is to rotate to P3, right? And they're spawning, you know, back here. So their choice is to rotate to P3. They've got three main choices, okay? They can either go around P2 and go around. To be fair, they've got a lot of choices. They can either run off spawn, hit middle, and hit the arches. They can either run around vines, okay? They're probably the most likely ways to hit that, or they'll come off this way and go up towards plat. But there's the four main ways, right? But me being where I am here essentially enables me to have cover of this whole mid map. Okay, I can comment to my teammates, they're not coming top mid. I'll see if anyone decides to, you know, run off this route, because I'll be able to see them up here. So, and this is a real nice spot to make sure I'm really focusing the attention in the right areas. Okay, all my teammates need to do is watch. If I just remove all the scribbles, all my teammates need to do is watch the top window, push through vines, and the full pinch. I will be able to communicate everything else. Okay, so the fact that I'm in the middle, probably you could argue being pointless. It means that my teammates don't need to worry about pillars. They don't need to worry about a push up top, because I'll be able to see them and communicate. I might not be able to kill them, but I can at least alert my teammates to their presence, and we can go from there. Oh, I've got the whole bottom mid. So I'm communicating what I'm holding. They might pinch. Not really. Oh, you're probably wondering, how long do I land here? Thankfully, I got a kill. I'm expecting another one just in case. And now we're here. I've noticed, okay, that's two people dead. I'm not seeing much. Let's try and help the actual objective here. Yeah, I'm going to help. So, because of how far pushed we were through, if we look at the minimap a little bit a while ago, we've got a teammate sort of push through. We've got a teammate sat on the hill and teammates top plat. So the emphasis towards the spawns, we've got, you know, some emphasis here. We've got a little bit of emphasis here, and then emphasis on the hill time. They're not going to spawn here or here. There's a spawn here which they're likely to spawn on, or a spawn all the way back here which they're likely to spawn on, where I'm trying to get to. I want these spawns this left-hand side, so I'm rotating. But because we just kill people, and I know my teammates are pushed up into this sort of zone, the enemies aren't going to spawn at these two hills or these two spawn points, meaning that I'm sort of expecting somebody to spawn in. And it luckily, or not luckily, it's just, I guess, knowledge, they did spawn there. But the main reason I'm pushing around this side at all is to get the better spawns, the spawns I prefer to hold the hard point from. So I managed to get two, communicate that there's someone in the in tin. Throw a nade over. Unfortunately, I did hit a trophy, but I got a flash assist. One shot. I'm one shot. I can't get this. So the moment we're just fighting the hill front on right now. There's not too much tactics going on here. But we sort of know they're coming from that direction. And the reason we know they're coming from that direction is because my teammates spawned in behind me. Okay, so we're getting the default spawns. Okay, we're spawning here, enemy spawning here. Okay, so it's pretty much just a head-on battle to the hill. So that's essentially as simple as it gets. And it's probably the simplest way, just reading the spawns.
What the fuck is going on?
Weak steps. So lose a gunfight. I'm not too bummed about losing that gunfight because of how little time there is left on the hill and my teammates are already there. And the fact that my team also had rotation to new meant I couldn't... Realistically, if you think about this in hindsight, it would have taken me longer to run to where I am now than it would be to just die and respawn here. So that's... I know that wasn't my initial intention, but because I knew my teammates had this side of the map controlled, because I knew they were already sort of rotated towards P4, and the enemies were all over in this area, I knew I'd spawn back here, meaning that I could get a decent rotation to the hill. So, let's move on swiftly. Yeah, I've got middle. So as the old hill was on my left, I'm essentially cutting anyone off who wants to come through middle, and that's pays off in my favour. Managed to get a kill, and I'm instantly moving. I'm not sat there for long. I'm instantly moving.
I've got top mid. Just watch your front. They're all coming front.
Now, I'm in a real nice spot here. If we take a look at P4 here, the two main spawns tend to be, to be fair, there's one in garage. There's like one here, and then there's one back there, which is what we typically see. Now, in order for them to keep these spawns, which is what we want the enemy to spawn in all the way over in this zone on the left. We want them spawning here. We need to make sure we've got a little bit of emphasis towards this right-hand side of the map, okay? So I'm sort of sat in this position back here, blocking these two spawns, okay? So as long as I am closer to these two spawns, this one here and this one here, than any teammate is to this one, we should be good. We shouldn't flip, okay? So I need to basically stay back here. And while I'm staying back here, and you could argue, why don't you go even further back? Why don't you sit here? And the reason I don't sit there is because it's pretty much useless. You don't really have much of an impact to the hill. All you're really doing is watching the flank, which you don't really need to hold unless you know they're going to be spawning there, which they're not because we're controlling this ones for this side. So from this position middle, if I just clean this up slightly, from this position middle, I'm blocking these spawns back here, so long as my teammates don't push past this line, let's say. But I'm also watching this whole mid cut, allowing every one of my teammates just to literally watch their front. Okay, I'm basically freeing up most of the map for them and allowing them to focus on one single direction whilst hopefully holding spawns. Now, the danger of holding it this far up is let's assume this is me, if my teammates do get a little bit too aggressive and they decide to push through, the enemies are going to spawn behind me. They're likely to spawn back here, meaning that they do flip. So it does take the whole team knowing the spawns and knowing the limitations of holding spawns in order to have, like, you know, successful holds.
I'll get your top.
Oh, mid. Nice.
We're still spawning in behind us, which is really good news. Now, I've decided to let go of my hold because we've got two people coming off spawn, right? There's not many of us there. We've got a teammate who's just spawned in, so they're natively blocking hill because they've just blocking the spawns because they've just spawned in. And my teammates on their hill by themselves. Okay, we've just had a couple kills. They're literally going to be spawning here, meaning that it's not going to be long until they push the front of the hill, and that's essentially what happened here.
Close.
I do get killed by Matt, so it is what it is. But Smirk managed to get a absolutely huge free piece, making that 4. And because I'm all the way back here, I'm still, you know, I'm back here, meaning that they can't spawn here or here. And all 4 of them are dead. I can pretty much guarantee every single one of them is going to spawn back here. Okay, so it's massive news that we got that 4 piece, because it essentially means that we know exactly where they're going to be coming from. Okay.
Front, I believe.
So I'm waiting for them to spawn in. That's why, by the way, I pull up that scoreboard. If we pull this back.
Xbox record. It's still spawning in front, I believe.
And you notice what I did there when I spawned middle. I didn't just run forward because it was the easier route to run. I did pull backwards in order to get a better position, i.e. top mid. You'll also notice what I do there is I'm not looking at my scoreboard. What I'm looking at is these skulls. These skulls, if you don't know, alert you to when an enemy is dead or alive. Okay. Now I'm waiting until they all spawn in, which they have by now, and then I push up because that tells me, okay, they're spawned in. I'm not going to be affecting spawns by pushing up. Let me push up a little bit.
Oh, middle.
Unfortunately, you do get pinched, but hey, it is what it is. Good route out of Jamesy, and we've spawned out. So obviously we've spawned out. We were spawning the other side. We were spawning over here. We're now spawning over here. That essentially means that I know for a fact the enemy is going to be spawning that side. So I tell the teammates to turn, and go from there.
Oh, this lag is awful.
Nades are so effective on this hill. You always want to try and use them.
You are stomping.
And there's probably you probably wondered why I didn't rotate to P1 earlier, and it's because you don't really want to jump on P1 until you have full control of middle. Okay, if you get one down, it's probably not enough to get the hill.
Underneath, like down here.
But yeah, you want to wait. Basically, what you want to do, you want to wait until you've got a decent amount of map control, i.e., you've killed 2-3 people, hop on the point, let your teammates watch over you, and then you can play for trades.
It's top middle.
That's what I'm sort of doing there. You do act as bait a little bit, and unfortunately, because our teammates pushed all the way through office, we've flipped spawns.
We flipped. They're spawning new.
So again, that's why it's so important to not just have one person with the spawn knowledge. Everyone needs to have the spawn knowledge in order for it to work as an effective team. Otherwise, stuff like this happens where I've literally spawned at the furthest possible point, pretty much away from the new objective. So how can we fix it, actually? I'm going to use this as a learning method here, a little bit of a learning tool. So I've just died and I had a teammate pushed out here, and I think we had someone else somewhere, maybe top mid, whatever. It's the spawn options are pretty much here, 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 and here. Now, when enemies are dying, what spawn would you say is the most likely spawn they're going to be? I don't think this player was here, to be fair. Ignore me. I don't think that player was there. Let me just grab them out of the way. I think that player was more likely to be here. So when the enemies dies, which side are they going to spawn? Are they going to spawn in over towards the bad spawns, even though my teammates are here, or are they going to spawn towards these good spawns because my teammates are pushed there? They're going to spawn over here, which is not what we want to happen, okay? And why don't we want that to happen? Because P2 is here. We don't want them spawning on the new objective. It makes it too easy for them. So that's what you could do. You don't, essentially on P1 Hacienda, you don't want to cross. You want to make sure if you cross the halfway line, you haven't got anyone pushed up the other side. But you don't really want to go past either one of these lines, okay? If you want to hold these spawns, let me just neaten this up. You don't really want to go past this line on Hacienda, okay? Because otherwise what will happen is you've got a little bit too much map control of this area, the enemies end up spawning out, okay? That's essentially why you don't want to push past that line. And that's often the case with a lot of hills that are central on this game. So all I'm doing right now is playing for trades, playing for teammates, playing for kills.
Pretty sure they spawned on new.
I'm awful with that pistol, by the way.
P4, nice. Wait, I spawned in.
So my teammates have a really good job of rotating. As you can see, there's 2 green marks there, and you can see them through the wall. So they've got solid new spawns.
I've got their inner. Dead. No,
Should have waited a little bit.
Top steps. Zig.
Okay. Nice. So P2 is live. The spawns for P2 are down here. Okay, that's the main spawn for P2. You've got this one back here and this one. Now, I do not want the enemy to spawn at this one here. Okay, that's one I want to control. As a result, I've pulled back and I'm trying to block it. But what I can do whilst blocking that spawn is watch their cut through middle. If I can position myself so that I can make sure, you know, a very common route from this spawn is to run through bottom, up towards Zig, or even come all the way through and wrap around. I want to make sure that my teammates only have to worry about front, okay? As an AR, I want to make it the easiest job possible for the rest of my team. So what I'm trying to do here is, yes, I'm pulling back to watch the spawns, but I'm also pulling back far enough so that I can see all the way through the lobby, like so. So from that position, you can see if they come down the stairs, if they come from mid towards the Zig, I can see that whole line of sight, which I have indicated, I guess sort of looks like this. It's going to be a wiggly line, but that's what it looks like. So essentially, enemies can't come from this direction. They can't come from that direction. The only direction they can come from is this way, meaning that my teammates only have one way to look, unless I don't get the kills in the position I'm looking at, which is very likely because it's such a small angle.
Come your Zig as well. Just watch front. Just watch front. Just watch your front. I've got everything else. I've got everything else.
So a case of bad timing there, but I managed to slide cancel backwards. Good Omni movement, I guess, to get these kills.
One shot top.
So the same sort of mentality is in my head again. I'm making sure that I'm trying to release the spawn now because there's only so long left. You know, I want to make sure that any kills we get, the team enemy spawning behind us, which is hard to do unless you completely leave it. I was a little bit slow to that. But any kills we get now should spawn them behind us.
Oh, there's one or not.
So I just had info from a teammate that 2 of them spawned on old, so I'm literally looking for those kills right now. Playing this really cruddy angle. Now, from old, they are either going to push through, as I say, round, into the mid cut here, or they're going to come up like this way. So I'm making sure that I've got one of those 3 ways, okay? So that's sort of why I'm watching this particular position. I don't see anyone, so I'm deciding to move. Again, I'm checking my stairwell just to make sure I'm not getting pinched. I just did a kill. And at the moment, all I'm trying to do is get my trades there. That, by the way, that iron sight is the first time I used it. I picked it up and I was awful with it. So take that as you will.
It's gone out.
Okay, so we're currently spawning in. We've actually got really solid spawns for P3. So we've literally just spawned in bottom vault, which is the closest spawn you can pretty much get to P3. And you're probably wondering why I'm not running directly to the hill, and that's from Plat, which is this zone literally just up here to the right. From this Plat area, you can literally see the entire hill, and you can wallbang most of the fences. So it's a real strong position to hold, and that's why I've pushed up Plat in order to get that map control. Spawning there, I also know the enemies are spawning here, unless we push through the hill, which we haven't done yet. So I know any kills we get right now, any kills my teammates get, are literally going to spawn them vines. So that's the direction I need to put a little bit of attention to when we do eventually get some kills.
Nading it.
Again, I'm approaching the hill. I'm using my nades. I'm using my stun just to try and put out some damage, getting a kill. I also flashed an enemy, and there's 2 kills. Simply put.
Long.
So, because our teammate pushed through, I don't know if you saw that, but whilst I'm doing all this, right, my head's always looking at the minimap. I'm saying, okay, there's a green dot all the way on the left here. So when I do get these kills, I'm thinking, right, where are they going to spawn? You can see here, if I just mark very quickly some big circles, we've got, where are we? We've got a teammate here, teammate there, a teammate here, and then we've got a random teammate who I don't know where they are, but they look like they're all the way over here somewhere. Where are they likely to spawn? When the 2 spawn points are here, oh, it's all big now, or here, where, or sorry, here, there's one back there, and here, which one are they safest to spawn at? And in my head, I wasn't sure because my teammate was here. So after these 2 kills, because of this teammate being pushed up over here, I need to change the size. This is bloody massive. Because of this is my teammate was pushed up over here. I knew that the enemies were unlikely to spawn either of these 2, so I needed to pick up the pinch. Okay, so that's my whole logic in. I got the timings a little bit wrong. When we got those kills, and that's why I'm pushing back this way, because I'm reading a spawn this way because of how far Smirkio, although they've just died, we've already had some kills, has pushed forward. Unfortunately, I get the timings completely wrong, but that's just because of grind. I even said I read that, I just didn't expect timings. But again, we're spawning in, looking at how long's left. There's 9 seconds. I'm just trying to be difficult, right? The thing is, with flashing enemies when there's so little time left, they're going to be saying, there's a guy on me, and it's going to almost put them under the illusion that there's 1 less player rotating to new. So you flash, you throw a nade. They're almost diversions, making sure that a little bit more emphasis of their team is put on the old hill than the new hill, if that makes sense.
Flashed old, sorry, flashed old. I've got their bottom.
So again, I'm trying to pick up the mid. The logic is exactly the same as before.
On your side, Dan?
One might be top mid.
Yeah, there is, he is.
I'm communicating that to my team. Unfortunately, I don't get a live mark.
I got mid. He's middle, man.
Great play out of Matt, to be fair.
He's just fucking challenging everything. Garage as well.
And because I just watched that kill cam, by the way, this is why kill cams are so important, even on respawn.
He's middle, man. Put bullets in it. He's just fucking...
But in the kill cam, I'm not only looking at what Matt is doing here to kill me, to improve, I'm also looking at this. I've also noticed this blue dot. So I know instantly that I can communicate to my... Can communicate. Easy for me to say. I can communicate to my team instantly that there's a player pinching garage, whether or not they already know that. I know they've just got a kill. Hey.
Dead on time.
So again, nades to break the hill, make it easier. There's now 2 dead, and there's 3 of us here, so we should be able to chow this relatively easily.
Weak. Nice. Matt's cheating, by the way.
I think that Matt's cheating. I think I think this was the game. I didn't realise, but that guy, that looked very suspicious. I don't know whether you guys think that. I'm going to rewind that just for your perspective here. Does this look sus to me, to you guys, yes or no?
That's cheating, by the way.
I was convinced. In any case, we're winning.
No, he's not aimbotting. He's really bad, but he's walling.
Bit of shit talk there. But we're trying to break the hill. There's only 5 seconds left. But as I say, there's not really a too late time to push P4 because P1 is literally here, so that you can go from P4 to P1 by being awful cross. But you can go from P4 to P1 by being in this zone. Literally, there's no reason to rotate early to P1, especially when you've got a good spawn. So we're spawning this side, which is the spawns you want to have. There's no reason to rotate early for P1. You can just be annoying at P4.
This side I've naded it.
Oh my god, what?
So I'm getting the scrap. Notice a player challenging me off the rip. Trying to pre-fire them because I'm scared. I fear it's the waller.
Top that side.
Unfortunately, I do get traded, but hey, it is what it is. Now, when you've got such a lead like this, you can risk pushing things, okay? Because realistically, all you need is 10 seconds of time here, 10 seconds of time there, and you've won. They need 200, just less than 200, I guess. 150, let's say, 160 points to win. We need 40, okay? So we can really get on the time, make the opportunity. So it's this sort of time where you can be a little bit more reckless to get hill time.
Nice. On mine.
And that's as a result, I'm not so concerned about blocking. You can see here, in a world where this game was closer, I'm noticing my teammates push through, perhaps wrongly, but I'm noticing the teammates push through. I should have pulled back instead of hitting on time. But yeah, I'm hitting time as a result. Teammates just spawn back left, meaning they're probably coming from back right. And again, I'm simply P-firing here because I don't want to get hacked on. That's all it is. But you can see this, we've increased our score by 10 seconds. We now only need 30 left, right? We've reduced it by 25% because we've just got that little bit of scrap time, okay? Again, every hill is really easily breakable.
It's bottom arches, I think. I'm leaving out. I'm leaving. We spawn on new.
So I'm rotating to new. I've left old. My teammates managed to clear old, thankfully, and I'm rotating to new. I'm coming back to support my teammates.
Yeah, dead.
Managed to kill Matt, thankfully. I think he knew I was there. I'm not sure about that. But all I'm trying to do there is, as I've said before, I don't want to dabble. I don't want to talk about this for too long. But with P2, there's the main spawn you want is back here. So all I'm trying to do is fight for these good spawns. I'm trying to play my life here, winning those gunfights there, allowing my team to spawn in there. But unfortunately, I have died in an attempt to break it. But thankfully, we do have the rest of the team there, hopefully getting them to spawn out.
Spawn in the back.
So normally I'd sit back and block, but because I know my teammates are going to spawn in behind me and they can do that, I'm putting pressure on the hill.
Sorry, I should have picked that up. Hello?
Don't know what's going on there.
Watching glass.
See, what's concerning now is the person who did spawn in last hasn't picked up the back, so it does have they do have an opportunity to spawn sort of behind us. But my teammate seems conscious of that. They're looking at that, getting the trophy down because I'm on the hill.
Nice.
And that's game. So arguably, potentially against a cheater, we go 46 and 19. And yeah, hopefully it was a good game. We managed to 100-point club them ish, nearly. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. If you have any questions about any sort of push or any moments in this video, make sure you let me know down in the comments and I will help as soon as I can. That's going to do from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Ciao for now.
Yeah.